Okay, so emergency announcement before we begin. Shaya retracts, and the cutlery for plastic should not be used on if you have someone to. Okay, okay. Now we know. Now we know. Okay, so let's go right over here. It's Simon Reish. It's Simon Reish Pei Vav. This over here is he titles it the Tfilas Mincha on Erev Shabbos. Okay, so we're learning some in Reish Hamach Beis. We actually saw in the previous tshuva that this idea of if we're going to go according to the Gemara, that when a person comes home and the table is set and everything is ready, so then the good malach will say, give a bracha, it should be like this the next week, and the bad malach will have to answer amen. So according to that, no problem. You could set the table after you light neiros, as long as it's before the husband comes home. Right? So we saw no. No, it should be said everything even before Shabbos, even before you light. And that's why could be that this simon comes right before the simon Reish Samach Gimel, which is the halachas of lighting Neiros on Shabbos, right? So the order of the simonim, because the simonim are made chronologically of the Torah and Shulchan Aruch. So that's one explanation. So based on this, there are three topics that came out. I already looked ahead.
So you're saying this comes before making a Ner Yafe? That's your point?
Yeah, that's right. That's Halakas Neiros, Reish Hamach Gimel, nice simon.
Yeah.
So there are really three main points that are discussed in the next. There's still a lot more chuvas, actually. I'd say around 10 pages or so worth. And I really went ahead to most of them. Number one, davening mincha of Shabbos. Number two, which we're going to see, is some halachas of Avelus. Because Avelus, when a person's in Shiva, Shabbos changes a lot of things. So we're going to be learning about those halachas that pertain specifically to an Avel during this time of Erev Shabbos. Because these halachas are not discussed really in the Shulchan Aruch over here. Some of the halachas are in Hilchos Avelus, and so those have to be learned. And then we have to discuss something else a little bit, which is Kabbalah Shabbos and the Mizmorim before Kabbalah Shabbos, which is during this time. So those are the chuvas that he gets into, which is nice. No one else talks about them, and I think it's worthwhile to go through. I personally got a tremendous amount of pleasure when I went ahead and went through these chuvas, and I learned a tremendous amount. So I'm assuming everyone else will benefit as well. So basically, what we're going to do is not going to go through every single word of the tshuva. We're just going to go through the parts that I thought were very applicable for halacha l'maisa, and this way we could utilize the limited amount of time that we have, so we could keep moving forward because we have hayom katzer hamalachim ruba, which means that the day is short and there's a lot of work to be done. A lot to learn. Okay, tshuva reish pevav. Im yesh l'daktik le'izpal, Mishnah Shabbos. Im yesh l'daktik le'izpal tfilas mincha, the Erev Shabbos, big day Shabbos. Is there a concept of wearing Shabbos clothing on mincha on Erev Shabbos? I remember one time when we first moved to Inwood, it was like 5 years ago. I mean, some actually say in our address Far Rockaway because we're so close to Far Rockaway, but side point. So when we first moved there, one of the minyanim needed chizuk, and it was like summer, and they started it earlier. So the mincha minyan in particular needed help to get a minyan. So I didn't want to make an early job, so I'm daven later, but I daven mincha there to help out. So the question is, was I allowed to wear weekday clothing at that minyan or not?
Yes.
Now keep it.
I mean, I know he's
No, I would argue yes. Also, it's during the week, right? I would argue that, right? Now, is there a difference between if someone's gonna daven 1:30 mincha gedola versus if he's gonna daven that mincha close to Shabbos? So I thought when I saw the shaila, like yesterday for the first time, it's like, for sure, why can't you wear weekday clothing, right? After all, it's weekday. So he says otherwise. Comes along with Harfness and says, Yeshin ladaktik bazeh. There is a concept of being careful with this, meaning of wearing Shabbos clothing, right? Surprise, surprise. Ubefrat oisan hamisachrim lehispalo, especially those people who delay davening mincha after shkiyah. So that's chassidim, that's something else. So what on earth is the problem with wearing weekday clothing at mincha before Shabbos, right? What is the problem? Minhag to do this. Why? Where does this come from? What's the idea over here? So, actually, nothing else is highlighted, but you see that there's a concept, and we're going to see about this more, right?
Does it make a difference?
Take a look at what he says over here.
The one you were discussing, where it's already Shabbos for most. I mean, who are part of that minyan?
No, nothing to do with that. Look at the continuation. Ayin b'shar kavanos. That's I think the Arizal. on the Indian of Leil Shishi and Indian Tfilas Erev Shabbos. Indian Kabbalah Shabbos v'tzivos mincha b'yoyim Shishi she'az maschilin lahamshich kedushas Shabbos. The kedusha of Shabbos is already beginning. It's palpable. It's in the air. We feel something. It's bubbling over there. We feel the kedusha. We're so close to the kedusha. So there could be an idea, at least stringency, of wearing nice clothing at this mincha. And we're going to be learning a lot more about this mincha and how special it is and some very interesting minhagim that certain people have. So anyways, so this is the idea. Surprise, surprise. What else did he say?
Yeah. But he's saying that because then when you're down, yeah, the Hamshach Kedusha because you're enjoying the Kedusha Shabbos, right?
Yeah.
That would make sense by Mincha Katana, right?
Correct.
But by Mincha Gedola.
Oh, so that's what he said. He said there's an Indian, especially
Fraud.
It's about to mincha. That was talking about if you're davening later. Yeah,
later,
davening later.
He says Achashkia Sacham.
Right. So that's
so it would
right.
seem maybe if you die Mincha Katana, it's
Perhaps.
not such an Indian.
Perhaps. He was saying, meaning that was the cherry on the cake. He was saying it's an Indian, especially if you're davening later. Right? If it's a mincha gedola, so then it could very well be less of an Indian.
No.
If it's a mincha katana, then already it could be more of an Indian. He says over here, it's the maschil his noises kedusha Shabbos. The kedusha of Shabbos begins his noises, sparkling. Right? It begins sprouting over there. Right?
Sparking, you feel it in the air, but
you feel it in the air. You feel it's coming. You smell the cholent already. It's on the crock pot. The kedusha. We're getting close. When
don't feel Shabbos till Shabbos morning.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, you got married, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Couple weeks ago, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go back 10 years ago to whatever it was when you got married. Yeah. All right. 2 or 3 hours before your wedding, did you feel that the wedding was coming?
No.
You didn't feel it was coming?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm weird.
Okay. No, 1 hour before you didn't feel it was coming?
1 hour before.
1 hour. By the way, this reminds me, I threw out this question to a lot of my chavrusas. They like asking, I used to do a thing. I've mentioned this before. I take out the wallet. I take out $100 bill and I say, here's $100 question. You get the answer right, I give you 100. Why? Because you ever do this, you have a chavrus, he's falling asleep on you, just whip out 100 or wake him up. People don't realize that when they learn, it's worth millions, billions, but you take out 100, suddenly they care about a little paper over here. But anyways, so I don't ask the $100 questions anymore. I brought down is actually a good safer spare the child. I didn't finish it. It's good. He talks about there is a concept of incentives, but sometimes the incentives could take over, and then they say, the incentive is the ikr, not the Torah, whatever. I'll go upon him. So I just say ask hard questions now. I call them. So one of the questions was something that we learned. Why do we say Seis Shalom? By when we say Shalom Aleichem, right after you say Shalom Aleichem.
That thing that he said, probably not accepted. I think in general, the approaches, incentives are good.
Right, but he gives it. We want to go into it more. He gives a case of a bacher who was getting his father was giving him a prize. He was paying him, let's say, $30 every single time he remembered the shakla v'tarya of Amud of Gemara.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice, right? So he made a cheshbon. He said, "Well, it takes me 3 hours to memorize the shakla v'tarya ben Amud." Is what he said, and it takes me 2 hours. $230. Wait, I'm not done. No, I'm not done. Middle of the story. So he says it takes me 2 hours to basically clean toilets. So I'm gonna now clean the toilets because I'll make the money quicker than remembering. So now that's a problem. Right?
Ridiculous. I mean, like you're in Cole. Do you know guys in your Cole who are considering clean toilets instead? They can make more money than what they.
We're talking about a younger kid. Right, so I'm talking about 12-year-old kids.
I'm saying.
It has an impact. You have to be very careful about a mechanich. I'm a mechanich also.
I understand. So you're saying a 12-year-old is not going to clean toilets, but it will clean toilets, but a 25-year-old won't clean toilets.
25-year-olds, the problem is that they have an option sometimes. Many young people in their 20s, they say, look, I could sit and learn, but why would I do this? I could go out and do something else in front of a computer and I could make 10 times the amount.
I'm saying let's not say 10 times. I mean, let's say your example, the toilet.
Yeah.
He can make more with less effort to clean the toilet. Most people don't like to do the toilet because it's not
right.
They don't want it.
It doesn't have to be a toilet. Do me a favor. You go in the trailer on your way out. You go all the way to the back left. Take a look. Spare the child. He has pages on this. You'll read it. You'll see. It's an interesting something to think about. Akopanim. So, what's the question? The question I threw out is why do you say Seis Chamashalim? So he came along, and someone said, someone who was already a little older, Bacher, and he said, B'Shem Shimshon Pinkus. He said he just read it in one of his, the English one that they have on Shabbos, whatever. I just have the Hebrew one. I didn't go through it yet. And he said that you say Seisel Mashalom because on Shabbos we are marrying Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to say. Now, when you get married, what happens? Yeah, the other people come to your chasna. Yeah. It's not just the kala over there, right? You need people. So you have a whole chaver over there, a whole entourage. The malachim are our entourage, the people who are coming with us. But then what happens after the chuppah? There's something called yichurun.
Yeah.
Do they come in the yichurun?
No.
No. In fact, it is the Edi Yichud, which, as a side point, some people are makbid for it to be the Edi Kedushin. So
Really, why?
So because they're connected, that's another story. Don't worry, I haven't heard a lot of things.
The wedding, you're still married in discussion.
Yeah, don't worry, you're good.
But why would you want such a thing? I always thought you want to spread the wealth.
Yeah.
People do
Look,
different-
that's another discussion.
Whatever.
You look at Evan Ezer, Simon Samachay around that area, you learn enough. Okay, I'll go upon him. So you have the Edi Yichud, and they come and they make sure no one's there. It's just the Chas and Kal. When we're having our Suda, according to our Pinkus at least, and the different Malchim in this, as we learned in the past, it's just us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We tell the Malachim, this is Yichud over here. Also, why am I bringing that up? Bringing that up from what we were discussing six minutes ago. Before a person gets married, he feels it's coming. We're marrying a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Isn't that more important? Marrying Hashem. So therefore, with the kedusha, it's already felt. It's bubbling. It's in there. That's the explanation with the clothing. Yeah. 3 words. Nice comeback. Here we go. So, anyway, so that's his tube over here, and that's the idea of it. David, what's going on today with you? A little quiet over there. All right.
I'm here. I'm listening.
They make him work on his
They make you. Oh yeah.
What is it?
No, he looks like he's not at work.
I'm here.
Oh, you are at work?
Yeah.
Oh, they make you come in during Turkey Day. Huh? Yeah, because it's a Heimische company. That's why.
And that's a super.
That's
A lot of people come in Motzi.
They do? They do?
I always do.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Okay. Yeah. I just never come to work. That's my. Okay, fine. Anyways. Yeah.
Different type.
Different type of work. Yeah. Okay. What are we talking about here? Okay, so
Say some
so let's continue.
What did David say? Okay,
He said, "Seis Shalom."
good.
Yeah, to show that he was listening to what we're paying attention. So we'll mark his class participation as 100%, and we'll send the report card out and let everyone on the mishpacha know. Okay, good. Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, what does he say a little light over here? He says the Shai's Chuvas Shua Shai says you should daven with Big Day Shabbos. As maschilin haolamos lahalois mikoyach kedusha Shabbos. The worlds, they start beginning to ascend from the kedusha, from the strength of the kedusha of Shabbos. And he says that's why. Okay, it's fun. That's something else. So that's another reason over there. And so you have a lot of different reasons. What's this? Okay, so this is basically the main idea of where this concept comes from. Next Shiloh. This is talking about if someone comes late to shul. All right. So by Nusach Svard, they say Hodu before, specifically in Erev Shabbos. So before Mincha. So if someone comes late to shul, right? Could he daven before Mincha with the tzibor, and then afterwards can he come along and say Hodu? That's the question. Meaning, what should he do? I'd like to extend the Shaila. This is really a Siman Reish Lamed Aleph, Reish Lamed Bey Shaila, which is Hilchos Mincha. If a person comes late to shul and they're like wrapping up Kaddish for Mincha before Shemona Esrei, should he say Ashrei or go straight into Shemona Esrei? So the answer is Palo Mincha Yim HaTzibur v'Yomer Hodu Achar. You would daven Mincha with the Tzibur first and say Hodu after. All right. Same thing with Asher. Tefillah b'tzibur, that's the most important part of davening with a minyan.
What if you won't have time?
Won't have time for what?
Don't say that shit. Don't say that would do. He's very late. He won't have time.
That's what he's saying. You should daven Shemona Esrei first.
I'm saying he won't have time. When he's done, it's already,
What do you mean? When is it? What do you
that
mean?
they're already into called Shabbos and
Oh, he came after mincha.
they didn't come after him. They came like midway in the mincha. He davens the proper.
What are they up to?
No, they're in the middle of Shemona Esrei.
Well, it makes a difference because if
No, they're in the middle of Shemona Esrei. I'm telling you, they're in the middle of Shemona Esrei.
silent Shemona Esrei.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I know it's trying to. So he jumps right in like you're saying, and then when he's
Yeah.
done, he doesn't have any time for the beginning stuff.
Okay, so this brings us back with Siman Kuftes. Okay, Siman Kuftes we learned many years ago, which is the halachas of if a person comes late to shul and then davening Shemona Esrei. If you're more interested, 100% go to those recordings. I'm 100% serious. They're very important. Or just learn the Mishnah Berurah yourself. They it could be a little tricky sometimes. Some outside knowledge out of that siman could help a little bit. It is a little bit of a tricky. That siman really has a direct tie-in. There's a side point with siman nun beis, which is the official siman of the halachas of coming late, which also is a major discussion. Those were actually very good, very good. We quoted a lot there, but 52, 109, and 109. But the basic idea is that it's prohibited to start davening Shemona Esrei if you know that by starting Shemona Esrei, 52, 109, that's the main siman. So it's prohibited to start Shemona Esrei if by doing so you know that you're not going to be able to finish your Shemona Esrei before they get to either an Amen Yehish Merabo and a Kaddish, a Kedusha in Chazar Sashatz, the bracha Bakel Kaddish, after Shmei Tvila, also that bracha, it's the end of the series. Like there are multiple brachos that you have to hear. So
We're saying this is when you start with the tzibur?
this is talking about a classic case. Let's say, for example, Erev Shabbos. I'm actually very happy that you brought this up because he's not talking about it over here. If a person walks in, this is very common, especially with the early Shabbosos now. We're starting like 4:15 now. Person's walking in late to davening.
And they already
So
started
your
Shemona Esrei.
average Orthodox Jew, unfortunately, is completely unaware of these halachas, and they're explicit in the Shulchan Aruch, and a person violates it explicitly in the Shulchan Aruch. Open up Siman Kuftes, you'll see. It says if you come late, you are not allowed to start your Shemona Esrei if you know you're not going to finish by those times. You're not allowed to miss those things.
So that's why they either I guess you hurry up your davening. So I guess you could do so you could say kedusha, at least partial kedusha.
Yeah, but if you're coming in when they're up to modim and they're about to start chazar shots in a minute, you can't do
then
that.
you can't. So you can
Okay.
daven with the tzibur.
Oh, okay, fine. Now, what you do is you daven with the chazan.
Right.
That still counts as a kind of a tefillah b'tzibur. It's not the ultimate tefillah b'tzibur, but it counts as something. And then you say kedusha with the chazan and everything, and then you don't lose out and all that, and then you follow him through.
But what about modim d'Rabbanan? Should you hurry up so you get modim d'Rabbanan, or that's not necessary?
When you're davening with the chazan?
Yeah.
When you're davening with the chazan, so you could say modim with the chazan.
So technically,
You say with him. You don't say d'Rabbanan. You say
you're
the
bowing
Nishmas
down
Shabbos,
with him, and
you're
that counts.
davening.
Right. So you're bowing down with
Yeah.
him, and that counts.
You're
like
bowing
technically,
down, yeah,
So you're not
yeah.
missing it.
Yeah. I'm saying as a disclaimer would be the proper terminology. Please, if this is something that you know is relevant to someone who's not careful, very important to learn that siman kuftes, and this is just brief highlights. There's a lot of details that if a person wants to be careful not to violate, and he is someone who sometimes comes on time, late, for whatever reasons, so he should be aware of these halachas. Yeah. Akoponim, so that's what you want to daven with the tzibor first, okay, and then you do it after, okay. Then in the rest of the tshuva, he says he provides 5 reasons why we say hodu, why Nusach Sfar does hodu before Shemona Esrei, Mincha, and Erev Shabbos. So honestly, I don't have a Nusach Sfar, so I don't care. So therefore, we're not going to learn it.
Neither do I.
Okay, finished. Dafilu im nisachru. Just one point halacha at the end of this tshuva. Even if he didn't say holdu until after Kabbalah Shabbos, he should still say it then, according to some of the 5 reasons of saying Hoda.
Not till like a week later.
Right, yeah. So that's interesting. Okay, now the next section, he calls Hilchos Smachois B'Shabbos. The halachas of joy and happiness on Shabbos. This, of course, is a euphemism. We're going to be talking about death and Avelis. Right? That's why there's something called Mesechtos Ketanos. Right? Mesechtos Ketanos are the smaller Mesechtos. What are Mesechtos Ketanos? So they're in the back of the end of Nezikin. There's these smaller Mesechtos that people aren't aware of exist. Mesechus Sitzis is very small. Tefillin. You have Mesechus Kala Rabasi. You have Mesechus Derech Eretz Zuta, Derech Eretz Rabbah. A lot of very interesting Mesechtas that people aren't aware of.
When does someone actually learn? I don't think they're doing that.
Well, that was going to be my next statement. You segued me right in. Perfect. You could learn the Daf Yomi 8,862 times over. You could have reviewed it tens of thousands of times. Daf Yomi. These Mesechtas Ketanos are not in the Daf Yomi cycle. By the way, also, you know what else isn't in the Daf Yomi cycle? Yerushalmi. All right. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But the idea is that they're not in there, and therefore you have the Mesechtas Ketanos. One of the Mesechtas Ketanos are Mesechtas Smachos. If I'm not mistaken, that's one of the Mesechtas Ketanos. What I did around 8 years ago is I just had a Seder. Every single day I learned them until I finished all the Mesechtas Ketanos. That's what I did. Why not? It's Torah, it's Mesechtas Ketanos. Right? So anyways, so those are the Mesechtas Ketanos. So it's a euphemism, and that's why it says it. Okay, so one other thing about Avelus isn't real Avelus. I mean, technically it is Hilchos Avelus. A lot of times people say that someone who is in an Avel should not learn Hilchos Avelus. Right? That's what they say. That's what people say.
What a few things you can learn, though.
What?
What a few
Same,
things you
if you're
can
not-
learn when
If you're not an Avel, if you're not an Avel, they say.
So how do you know?
Right, so how you
That's why I brought this up. I wanted to answer this question by asking another question. A lot of times people say you shouldn't learn Hilchos Nida if you're not married. Right? Now, I asked Rabbi Forrest about this 2 years ago, 3-4 years ago, and he told me the following. Look, Chassam Sofer, we teach Bachrim Hilchos Nida. Additionally, Rabbi Forrest told me that some say if you don't learn Hilchos Avelus, Chas v'Shalom, you'll become an Avel.
What?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's what he told me. That's what he
Wow.
told me. Now, I don't know if you wanted me to say that in a public setting, but that's what he told me. He didn't say not to. That's what he told me. I think it's important. People should know why. Because
What's he saying? He's saying
I'm gonna go into it. Person becomes an Avel. The guy is just, he's not in the happiest mood of his life. Someone close to him just died. Right?
Well, it's Ask a Shiloh. Those who don't know what they're doing.
Ask a Shaila, what?
Ask a Shiloh. The rabbis come to funerals. You know,
Rabbis, rabbis, they come, they're there for an hour or two, yeah.
Yeah, so at that point, Ask a Shiloh.
Yeah, so you're gonna learn all of Hilchos Avelus in 2 hours? You know how many simanim on the Shulchan Aruch there are on Hilchos Avelus?
The book they give people.
The book, so you're gonna read 600 pages now when you're getting mag?
It's
when
called
you're
an index.
It's an index, yeah. So people get swarmed with people at the Shiva. They don't have time to do anything. They barely have time to eat sometimes. Depends on how popular the individual who died was, or the people, or how big in the community they were. Now he's going to be learning Hilchos Avelus. How are you going to have time? And by the way, how are you going to be learning the halachas of an onain? You're going to learn Hilchos Aninus?
Yeah, you learn it.
Yeah, in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, you're going to learn halachas.
You learn that.
Yeah. So I remember when my mother and my uncles were novel, they were asking me shilas left and right. Now I was there a lot by the shiva and everything, but some not everything is necessarily brought down. You have to look around sometimes. You have to go into it. There's
So what was the
lot of
answer to the Shiloh? Just go see what people are doing.
Go what? You go to another shiva call, and then the people
you've been.
are also saying, "I'm going to look at the index," so they don't know what they're doing. Who you passing your shilas from? Right? People who know what they're talking about, or who people pretend that they know what they're talking about, but they don't know squat. So what I'm trying to say over here is, I'm not saying a person should have a 3-hour Seder learning Hilchos Avelus every single day, but why not? They have plenty of excellent English Svarim also. I think Morning and Halacha is a good one. They have, and just 2 pages every single day. Underline the main points that come out of Halacha. Get familiar so that a person knows what to do. And not only, by the way, is this important to learn for what to do at Shiva calls. How many
People always
times,
mess it up.
how many people don't know what
People
they
are horrible.
don't know what it's about.
No, that's
So, so anyways, so there are definitely chedushim to learn over here, and I think everyone enjoys. Aval b'zocha shiva matai posach is b'zor Shabbos. All right, so right now, get your index out. When does the shiva stop Erev Shabbos? Where's your index? What do you do?
You check.
Oh, I called the rabbi.
You're
calling the rabbi 3 minutes before
index Friday. Then
Yeah, what's your index?
I don't have the index. But
Yeah, okay.
Go next
Yeah,
week.
all right.
Index it, and you'll say
Okay, yeah.
Friday, and we'll tell you.
Samach l'chasheicha, near the time of dark is the answer. All right.
That's not true. Most people don't do that. Most people have an early end.
They do what?
Most people have an early end. I remember in the summer I went to
Yeah.
Shiva house.
Yeah.
And, I forgot
Because they
what
wanted
time
to
they
do
ended,
Shabbos,
but
they
they
could stop
but
the-
they ended up very, very
Okay.
early. Not so much.
Okay, so they're doing an early Shabbos. So according to you, now when could you stop the Avelus? Let's say the summer.
Let's say it's the summer. It was the summer.
Let's say it's the summer. So
What's-
Shabbos starts at 7:30.
7:30. So
Right.
I forgot what time the Shiva ended, but it was
Yeah.
way earlier.
It was way
They
early.
have to take a shower, right?
Way earlier than 7:30 that they ended. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm saying that Shabbos is 7:30. You don't have to explain. That's a good time. It's a good time. No, I'm saying they ended way earlier. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No. I wanna have a discussion here. I'm not giving a lecture over here. I wanna have a discussion over here. All right. So you got Shabbos over here this year. All right. We're in the month of July and August.
Okay, pick any week.
Let's say a little after Tisha B'av. All right. So pick any week. Parshas Eikev. Right.
Okay, 7:52.
All right. So the earliest time you could possibly make Shabbos is 6:26 p.m. That's Plag Mincha.
Right. So I would say people would end in Shiva maybe like 2, 3 o'clock. I don't know.
2, 3 o'clock.
But you're saying Shiva
So now you could just do whatever you want. It's 2, 3 o'clock.
yeah, you gotta get a shower.
Really?
You gotta whatever.
Well, it's a good thing that you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna see you got a shower 2, 3 o'clock. That's 5 hours before Shabbos. Now I will say there's something.
That's normal. That's what I'm saying. That's what people do.
Also because people do it since okay. Okay.
I'm sure they ask the
Yeah,
Shiloh. That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
okay, fine. All right.
I think it's what you want to do. That's my
Yeah, okay. So because people have TVs, so then people do it, so I could do it. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Got it. Okay. Yeah. People.
So what is the answer? So what is the answer? If Shabbos comes in the earliest at 6:30, you're saying stop at 5?
So people don't spend more than 20 minutes they learn. I don't need to learn.
What do you want?
Okay.
What time do you want to move?
Okay, so what's happening over here is there's an idea of miksas hayom kekulo, all right?
Yeah.
Which means some of the day is like the whole day, all right?
Right.
So fine, there's a difference between when people are sitting official shiva, okay, when you could maybe say miksas hayom kekulo, shiva's over early, versus now all the halachas of shiva are just completely over and it's completely hefker, all right? So there's gonna be a difference between the two. So let's just start from there. Don't get confused. All right. So what does he say over here? He says va'ikar lahalacha shavelus noeg ada erev bein hashmashos. General halacha is avelus continues. The actual halachas of morning continue until bein hashmashos, shkia time, sunset. Kol shekain mashanog beis makom, especially what happened in certain places. Shelo linog avelus min chasoy shel or Shabbos amaleh shu kaloi kedas. Those places that they stop. And they say, all the halachas of Avelus we don't need to do after halachic midday. That is not according to halacha. You cancel the custom, so to say. That is incorrect. Because there's a difference of Shiva ends versus the halachas of Avelus still continue. What?
Understood. That makes sense.
Okay, fine. Ela sharash halachzer lebeso v'leisha ba'avelus kadesh yuchol lahachen beso v'esatzmol dvar masriach mashabes. Right, you are allowed to return to your house. Right? Sometimes people sit shiva by their siblings, whatever. You'll have to go back to your house, not to sit as official. Now you're sitting shiva anymore, in order that you can prepare your house for Shabbos. Aval ka'amur shelo yashiv al gabe safsav lo yobosh ad karv l'chashecha. That doesn't mean you could still sit on a regular chair. Not at the time when he eats. When an avel's eating, that's another discussion. If he could sit in a regular chair, that's a discussion in of itself.
Really?
Yeah, that's a whole discussion. But to sit on a chair just to read to whatever, you can't do that. So very important halachas of avelus, which people should not be confused about. All right, and fine. Next Shuva. Imova b'soch Shiva Rachmana Litzlan Lovish b'Shabbos called Big Day Shabbos Kiragul b'Shar Shabbos Zon. This we already saw a taste of this in the Magen Avraham, and he's going to quote this in this Shuva, if I'm not mistaken. An oval during Shiva, right? So could he wear regular Shabbos clothing when Shabbos comes out during Shiva? Right? Shiva means 7. By definition, there's always going to be a Shabbos during Shiva. So therefore, for every single oval, this is very halach l'maisa. So as we've been learning in the Simon, there's a concept of wearing Shabbos clothing. Question is, does the oval, is he going to wear that Shabbos clothing or not? So the answer is, Kain Minhag, yes, the custom is that the oval would wear Shabbos clothing. B'tov shekodem sheyilbush beged mekubas sheyidris aleim ksas. Here's the nice point. Before he wears the clothing that is laundered, because remember, one of the halachas of an avel is not to wear fresh, clean clothing, right? So it's good, if possible, to like step on the clothing a little bit before, to dirty it up, so to say. Now that doesn't mean you go to Times Square and you put it over there in a puddle and start stepping on it with all the filth in. It's on a regular floor. Just step on it a few times. Doesn't need to be with your actual feet. Maybe you took your shoes off. But the idea is to get it a little dirty so that it's not completely clean. Rishonim chas v'sha'avel eino l'lubosh big day Shabbos v'Shabbos sheb'taycha Shiva. Wow. The Rishonim say an avel should not wear Shabbos clothing during Shiva.
That's from the Tisha B'Av, right?
What?
The Halachot is on Tisha B'Av. When they should wear Shabbos clothes on Shabbos, right?
Right. Right. So v'chein kasav. Oh boy, Juva keeps going. All right, try to move it along. I schlep it out. V'chein kasav ha'Ramah. The Ramah writes about this in Hilchas Avelus, in Siman Shin Pei Tes. She'otzer l'lobosh big day Shabbos toich daled shvuos. According to the Ramah, an avel can't even wear Shabbos clothing during the whole shloshim, all 30 days after.
Wow.
That time, what's the reason? B'darchei Moshe, Zok the darchei Moshe b'shem the maharil. The big day Shabbos dino kibegodim miguhatzim va'aser v'lilbush begodim miguhatzim kol shloshim. Shabbos clothing has the halachic status of pressed clothing, which is prohibited to wear all 30 days. Pressed man clothing for all 30 days. The question is, what do you mean? You're not allowed to practice avelus publicly on Shabbos. Basically, what that means is you're not allowed to have relations. Essential, right? Because that's right. Because that's patina. That's basically what it means. But avelus before hesef, it's publicly, so you're not allowed to do that on Shabbos. So now you're publicly demonstrating that you're an avil because you're not wearing Shabbos clothing. What's the explanation of that opinion? The answer is Shabbos clothing is different than the week. You're publicly practicing a veil.
I know people like this who, let's say they don't always wear Shabbos clothing. I don't even know
Yeah.
that wouldn't be like achila.
Very simple.
So now then they can not wear Shabbos clothing.
Very simple. Tell the person who doesn't wear Shabbos clothing to listen to these 19 different recordings, and then maybe he'll reconsider that.
Okay.
No, but maybe for that guy, not honestly. But honestly, if that guy really cares about halacha that much, then he wouldn't be in that challenge to begin with, right? You could answer this based on what the poskim say. The rak avelus to Shiva also before his Shabbos. Maybe only during Shiva is there a problem of practicing the avelus publicly. Aval loya avelus to shloshim. Oh, the dalit shvuos rishonis, but not the avelus of shloshim of the 30 days or during those 4 first weeks. Especially not avelus during the whole year. So that's a difference as to why by shloshim you would definitely wear Shabbos clothing. OJ Shlomer, another explanation. It means it right? Back in the time of the Ramah, they didn't wear different Shabbos clothing that was completely different than during the week. It was made of something a little bit more chashuv, right? Monetarily, they're in a different state. So therefore, and how readily available clothing was in all the organizations, etc. So therefore, there wasn't a problem of avelus publicly, because like what you were saying, you couldn't differentiate between the clothing, right? So therefore, those people, they're not allowed to wear the Shabbos clothing. Consequently, nowadays that the clothing is different, you would definitely have to change your clothing. So that could be a difference of why it's in Rishonim that way also. This could just be talking about exterior garments. But maybe it's not talking about just changing your under shirt and your undergarments that aren't recognizable. However, the Mogen Avraham brings from the Sefer Kavanos, Af Avol Yeshanim Abusha. We already learned that an Avol should change his clothing. How according to the and even though that from the Machzis a shekel it's clear that it's enough to change just one garment, so it won't be public avails. However, the simple explanation of the Magen Avraham is not this way. Maybe a Magen Avraham Sham Yeshem Sefer Haksavim Shetov Shlo Yilbush B'chol Makom Hashalavis B'Shabbos. It's not to wear anything at all that you wore. Okay, fine. You change everything. Everything completely. You want to change everything completely. However, according to the Arizal, according to the Arizal, that Arizal says you change everything, even your lower garments. How can one reconcile that of now he's going to be overriding the prohibition of wearing pressed clothing? So he wants to say that even according to the Arizal, he said that you could never wear something which is completely laundered. He just said that wear something that you wore like the last week, and that's the minhag that an avo would change all of his clothing. However, it seems benogay to Lilbush Begadim Mikubatzim, when it comes to laundered clothing, you should maybe give them to someone else. He should wear it just for a little bit, or you step on them. Yeah, all right, and you step on them for a little bit.
Because even by
it would definitely be considered a chumrah. I mean, keep in mind this.
the 9 days we hold.
Keep in mind, he said the tov. It's good to do this. It's good to. Definitely a nice idea to do it.
I'm guessing then that if you're an Avel, if you have a suit that you already wore in Shabbos but it's still clean, that would be good enough because it's not totally freshly laundered, right?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Okay, what's this last thing? Charles Chuba's Divri Nehemiah writes, if an Avel is going to be just staying in his house on Shabbos, so then he shouldn't wear Big Day Shabbos. That's only according to the reasoning of the Heter for Hester said it's not publicly practicing Avelus. However, according to what we said above, that according to the Arizal, you shouldn't change what you do from the rest of Shabbos. Even in your house, you would be able to wear Shabbos clothing. So this is basically the Heter for an Avel to wear regular Shabbos clothing, even during Shiva, and the differences that might have been caused that it's more recognizable with their clothing nowadays because it's completely different and it'll be more of a veilus before Hesed. But even so, put the clothing on the floor, let someone like step on it a little bit or someone else wear it for a little bit. So that's an avel when it comes to the clothing. Okay, so Amir Hashem, next week we will be mamshech with these halachas on avelus. Yeah, welcome to everyone.
Shkoch.
Right, next week.
Yeah.
Friday and the following Monday, Tuesday.
Good Shabbos.